Right, so once we're happy with our shimming, I'm just going to clean off that surface, just a bit of brake cleaner, get any oil and grease off there, because we've been like Henry Cooper and splashing it all over. And then we're going to put a smear of this Loctite silicone, and it is just a smear. Sometimes this is old, well it's not old but it's not exactly new. Smear it round with the fingers and then we'll come to put the springs in. When it comes to putting the springs in, especially on the R380 where there's a spring at the bottom, we need a little piece of stubby shaft like this, the same size that goes through the hole. Is that the one? Well, that's close enough. That must be an LT77, but it'll do. So we're going to put the spring in through the hole. A bit tricky. There we go. And then we're going to get our ball, put your finger over the end, and we're going to try and get this is going to be awkward to show you. We're going to try and push that down, the ball down, and try and push this shaft through at the same time. Not fun. Where's it going to go? There we go. That locates the ball, it keeps it sprung down, so when we put it down over this bit, hopefully we won't lose our balls. Right, let's see. I've put that upside down, but let's have a try and see if it will work. Make sure your dowels are out. Here we go. Oh, fell back in the box almost. Yeah, so it did its job. It did its job. That's it. Dowels in. Make sure the dowels are down. Good. Now we're going to fasten that down with some temporary bolts. And I can find them. The place is getting like a mess now, you get bits everywhere. What happened to me temporary bolts? That's not it. There we go. Of course, we've got to clinch down that silicone. So it's getting to a drying stage, if you see what I mean. We'll put one in there, and then we can start to assemble all the rest of this paraphernalia up here, if you see what I mean. So that's nice. That's nice. So what's next? Well, let's get the bits out. This here is the selective shim that we took off when we took off the gear here. It goes behind the gear. Now this is a selective shim. It's you can get them in different sizes, but this controls the height to where the circlip goes on here. You see what I mean? There's this little circlip groove here. So by altering the height of this, it will control where the circlip goes. If it's too tight, you put a thinner clip in. Easy, isn't it? So let's take this out of zoom a minute. I'll get all my bits together. Sleeve. Over there like that. Oil on there. Bearing. Most important. Then we put the gear on. Like that. And they should turn nice and free. And the next thing, I think we've got to slip that gear onto there. So it sticks. This is the one that sticks. It only goes on in a certain place. What joy. There we go. They're all meshing together kind of nicely. What we've got, you can't probably see, but this gear's off the lay shaft, this drives the idler, and this is your reverse gear, alright? So there's actually no contact between these two gears, it's contact this one, and this one, alright? So the next thing we've got to do is put a synchronizer ring on. Right, now we're going to assemble the fifth and reverse. We're going to put the synchro ring on. Now, pay attention, you get the right ring on here. There's two. Is that the one? No, yes, sorry about that. That goes on there. Now, that's the one with the notches at the back. See? That goes on there. You've already got your little spool on here, so the thin bit goes towards the casings. I don't know if it makes much of a difference. We've got our synchro assembly. I'm going to drop it on and try and get that lined up with the spline. Now at the same time, you want to move this, you've got to get this shuttle round like that. You see what I mean? Move it up and move it round, so this will drop on nice and square. They are a bit tricky to do. So that's dropped onto there, that's into there, that's good. We can see our circlip gap is here. That's nice. Now just to make sure that you've got the rings on the right way around, don't put the circlip in yet. Put this ring in here and make sure it goes on alright. Put your gear on, and this is what you're checking for here. See this little gap? Because this is where them bad boys go in. Now, if you get that on the wrong way around, if you get those two rings the wrong way around, you can't get the ring on here. Alright, it's worth paying attention. So we can take that off. Take that off. And you see the one that goes on the outermost has no rings in it at all. Alright, there's no rings in there at all. I don't know why that is. I really don't know why it is. Let me have an experiment, see if I can find an old ring. Here we go. This is an old one with the notches in the back. You see there? Put that one on. It'll fit, but you can see how proud it is. It's sticking out too far. Put the right one on, and she's flush. Right. That could be a childish schoolboy type error. Let's get this circlip on. Oh, did you hear that snapping? That were lovely. Just to make sure it's going to be nice and tight, just get a little punch. Mr. Punchinello. That one. The bearing. Balk ring. And then your gear. Bit of oil, splash it all over. Henry Cooper, you know the story. Split ring. Split ring. Retaining ring. And there you go. That bit's done. It wasn't too bad, was it? Now, the thing is... Oops. You've really got to pay attention with this bit, because like I say, you can invert the rings and it won't go on, and you're messing about grinding stuff, and that's not good. I think the reason why they supply new rings, I often thought it was something to do with the... Whoops, there it is. I often thought it was something to do with Britain going decimal or something like that. But it's the... what they used to have was one of these rings with a little notch in it. So you used to put that on there, and there used to be a pin that goes through there. That was on the older design. On the newer design, it just relies on those holding that together like that. Alrighty. Now you don't need to weld them on or anything like that, but now you can see the oil hole here. And if we have a look around, we can now go back to our description of this piece here, and you can see how that fits over the top of there and allows oil to go through the hole here and then through there. So that's how that works. It's kind of simple, really. Don't lose it. Right. What do we have to do now? We've got that on. Next bit is this geary bit here. Now I'll move the camera a bit. Oh, we can't put that ring on until we've got this gear on. Now we can put it on. Now don't forget there's a split collary type thing. I've got bloody bags and all sorts everywhere. Where's that collar gone? Here it is. There's the collar, it's a little cone that fits in the top of there. We should have in the plastic bag of bits a new nut to go into there. That's alright there. Don't really need any oil on there. I'll tell you what, we'll put some on anyway. We've got everything else on up to the bloody gunnels. Well, it doesn't move, it's just that well, it looks nice, doesn't it? These are a lot simpler to do than the LT77s. Let's make sure that ring's down there. Now we're going to tighten that up with our special socket, is that it? Oh, it's supposed to have a torque setting on that, but really I'll just rattle them down with a gun and make sure they're nice and tight so they don't come off. I'm going to bang a bit of rag in here, rattle it down. What time's it now? Well, it's 4 o'clock. We might have a look at the extension casing and assemble that. We'll push all this lot back and assemble everything, because I haven't done the oil pump yet. So let me rattle that down. We've seen us do that before, haven't we? Where's my little yellow cloth? Jesus, I've got everything everywhere. Oh, where's my cloth gone? Well, I'll get the cloth, I'll put it in, I'll jam a rag in there, rattle this down, and then, before we finish, when we take this off the casing here, we're going to put this on the floor with a block of wood here, not on the floor, we're on the bench, and stalk it over. Don't stalk it over when it's on the stand. A, you could knock it off the stand, but B, you don't want to damage any bearings. You know, you put some weight on here and hit it this way, not like that, if you see what I mean. Just before I move this back, we're going to make sure that that's in neutral. Put the ball in, put your spring in. We're going to put a little bit of Loctite on here and put this screw in. That goes against the shoulder. You can't over tighten it, so that's good. That's that done. Let's start to have a look at the casing, but let's not forget to stock that nut over. Stuff everywhere. I wonder what it's like in Ashcroft. I bet they have stuff everywhere as well.